Look at the view. This is Rinsey Head near Porthleven in Cornwall. But that's not the view I want you to look at. Look at this view. So Alex has rightly pointed out that actually, stood where I was stood, you can't see the bike at all. And we have to come over to this side of the road because of where the sun is coming from. This is my brand new Lapierre Xelius SL9. And I have quite the relationship with this bike, having first ridden it back in July. It's been a long few months waiting to be reunited, and I'm very happy to finally share it with you. Down to the beach, Porthleven Harbour. You might recognise the church. Every time the sea comes in, it's really rough, it's engulfed in waves. So I wanted to mention whilst out on the road that whilst I don't feel I can give you an unbiased review because of my relationship with Lapierre, I can share some of the experiences I noticed whilst riding the bike. So here they are. So if you saw my video that went out in July, I think it was, you might remember that last December I rode this bike, where Xelius version in France, on the launch, on the press launch. And my thoughts are still the same. It's a very aggressive bike. It's very agile. It's very alive. When you feel the bike underneath you, it's a sense of eagerness and wanting to go, wanting to be pushed, and it's quite exciting. It makes me smile, that's for sure. It feels like a race bike, and because of the geometry, because of the way it feels, the handling is really sharp and on point. I don't really like that phrase, but it goes where you want it to go. It's very direct, very predictable, confidence inspiring, but also sort of asking you to, come on, come play with me, come push me. And that is the sort of feeling that I love from a proper fast road bike. Very enjoyable. It makes you want to push, makes you want to exert yourself, and that is what road riding is, isn't it? It looks purpley.
Purple. It's because it is sometimes. Sometimes it's got a bit green in there too.
So quickly, I'm going to tell you the story about how I've not seen this bike for a couple of months. I rode it in the Elan Valley in Wales for a quick photo shoot back in July. It then went off and did a few laps of the various cycling magazines and websites in the UK. And then finally, last week, I was reunited with it in Cumbria or Northumberland. I'm not entirely sure which one we were in at the time, in a torrential downpour of rain. And I was absolutely pelted with things like grit off the road, as well as the rain coming down from the sky. So it was quite an experience. I've ridden it in the heatwave in Wales, in torrential rain, and I finally got to ride it today in Cornwall on my home roads in what is unbelievably beautiful autumnal weather. As you can see, I'm still wearing short sleeves. It did get a little bit fresh towards the end. Anyway, let's talk about the spec of this bike. It's a Lapierre Ezelius SL 9.0, which is the top of the range model, only coming in underneath the limited edition 75th anniversary, which I've already made a video about because I rode it in France at the press launch last year. Whilst I did see this one, and in that French video I did mention if I was to have a long-term bike, it would be amazing if it was in this colour. And unbelievably, that somehow worked out. The really beautiful, the blues, the sparkles, I think that's going to be my favourite. I think that would be my choice if I was to have a long-term bike. So this, like most of the Lapierres that I ride, is a size large. I'm very much between the mediums and the size larges. Because of my height, the length of my limbs, torso, things like that, I can fit them both. This does fit me slightly better than the Pulsium, in which I ran the negative stem. That's partly because the head tube is quite a lot shorter, which I personally prefer. I like to sit quite low, it's better for sprinting and just suits my riding style on the whole. And a size large is roughly equivalent to a size 56 centimetre frame. The bike comes equipped with the brand new Shimano Duros 12-speed, and it really is leaps and bounds ahead of anything I've ridden before. Just the level of refinement, it's silky smooth, it's really light action, and everything, it feels very refined, I think is the only way of describing it really. And the braking power, not only does it have more bite than the previous iterations of Duros, it also has just better modulation, silky smooth lever feel, it's a real joy to ride. The bike comes equipped with a 110mm stem, you can request a different size, and 420mm bars, 27.2mm seat post, which means it's really nice and comfortable at the back. As I mentioned in the previous video, the frame is designed to shave a tiny bit of weight with this triple triangle, but actually it's not about the weight saving at all, it's more about the compliance that's added. Because the seat tube is floating from the seat stays, it means they're able to move slightly individually of each other, which really helps dull the road buzz. The beauty of the size large frame is it comes with that slightly stiffer layup, as I mentioned in the previous video. In this size, the bike comes equipped with 172.5mm cranks, 52/36 chainring, and an 11/30 cassette out bike. 25mm Continental GP 5000 tyres. These aren't currently set up tubeless. I do have some slightly wider ones which I will put on for the winter. Although to be really honest, I'm going to do my best to try and keep the bike clean and off the dirty roads this winter. I've added my own Wahoo Speedway pedals. The bike comes equipped with a Physique Argo, which is one of those shorter, more snubby shaped saddles, and they are really comfortable. The bike comes equipped with Lapierre's own brand 42mm deep rims, and I think the party piece of this bike, when it stood here static, aside from the paint, is listen to this. Loud. And yeah, the brakes come set up the correct way around for me as well. Since it's direct from France, it's ideal having the rear brake on the right and the front brake on the left, just as all bikes should be in my opinion. Whilst I haven't officially weighed this bike myself, I did notice that the magazine reports quote it as being around the 7.5 kilo mark. When you pick it up in your hands, it really does feel light, so I have no reason to doubt that, and that is again in this size large, because this is the bike they were testing. I don't feel there's a lot left for me to add, other than Alex said it was the most excited I've been about riding my road bike for a long time. I feel this paint really speaks for itself, and when you see it in the sunlight, as it moves around, as it reflects in different ways, it's just, you find yourself losing yourself in it like you do when you watch a naked flame. It is stunning. I cannot wait to get back to road racing a little bit next year. I'd intended to do some this year. A few different things got in the way, like having COVID, but hopefully that's all out of the way and I can enjoy a few extra events on the calendar next year. But I want to know what you think as well, because I'm clearly in awe of this bike. Let me know what you think in the comments below. Hopefully we've done the paintwork justice and you can really get an idea of just how beautiful this bike is when you see it in real life.